Good morning, class, and welcome in. My name is Kawaiichi, as in Mr. Kawaiichi. As in, Kawaii, I wish I had the sense to pick a better name 3 years ago, Ichi. Today, we're going to be discussing My Hero Academia, and yes, I know what you're thinking. Shouldn't we be learning about, math or something? And to that, I say, shut the f*** up, we're talking about My Hero Academia. Now, what exactly will we discuss? Power. Today, I want to educate all of you on the display and meaning of power showcased in My Hero Academia. I want all of you to arrange your desks in groups of 4, and I want you to choose a fight scene or series of fight scenes and how they relate to the idea of power found in simplicity. And time's up. Hope that was enough time, because you're not getting any more. I think we'll start with Group 1, and representing Group 1 will be... Keith.
Hello, my name is Keith, also known as the same guy.
No, wait, that's not it. Hold on.
Hello, my name is Keith, also known as the guy with the same voice as the teacher. And today we've decided to talk about one of the more recent fights, the Spear versus Shield from the Overhaul arc.
The Shield fight is simple in its matchup and its comparison. When I first watched the fight, I didn't like it even a little bit. It was kind of boring, it didn't feature characters I was very familiar with or enjoyed, and most of all, the Spear and Shield comparison felt contrived. On my first watch, it felt kind of like... I thought you were the Spear. But after multiple viewings, I've actually changed my views on it. Now, it feels more like, looks like you've brought 2 shields to a spear fight. That's where you're wrong, head. I've realized that this is how all fights in My Hero have been, especially some of my favorites. Simplifying the message to be portrayed as something so universal as a spear and a shield is actually a very good way to showcase the core elements of Red Riot's drive to be a hero. It doesn't need to be complicated to get the point across. The heroes being shown as 2 shields and the villains being portrayed as a spear and a shield works on a few levels. You can take it literally, which would make you believe that the heroes are at an immediate disadvantage, which creates a sense of suspense and overall surprise when Fat Gum forges himself into a spear and Red Riot becomes a worthy shield. Or you can look more into what the shield represents to Red Riot. In this fight, the shield is representative of the drive to protect and become a better hero. The shield isn't Red Riot's physical ability to protect, it's his will. The message in this fight only begins to work when Fat Gum reveals he can be a spear and Red Riot reveals that he has what it takes, even at a physical disadvantage, to become the shield needed to overcome the villains and protect others. The power in the message is only found when it's simplified to something so recognizable as a spear and a shield.
Thank you, Keith, for those interesting visuals, but I think we're going to move on to Group 2, and presenting for them will be the guy from the 90s?
Hello, I'm the guy from the 90s.
And there goes the
As a collective, we in Group 3 have decided to talk about All Might versus All for One, and how it uses a few symbols in order to showcase growth in several other fights and characters. The first notable symbol is the fight itself. It's not just about All Might defeating the greatest evil he's ever known. It's about the passing of responsibility to the new generation of heroes. You might think that the new generation would be Midoriya and his class, but it's actually Endeavor and those on his level, as shown in the fight between Endeavor and the intelligent Nomu. Our reasoning behind this is that the fight uses many of the same symbols, and in essence is identical to All Might versus All for One. All the characters we know helplessly watch from a distance, as the only hero capable of defeating the threat at hand is mercilessly beat down. Despite all the odds, both heroes know that they're a symbol themselves and have to win no matter what. In one final attack, being their most powerful, both heroes end their battle in one fiery blast. After a long, deafening silence, when the smoke settles, both heroes are left standing in the same pose, one fist in the air, All Might giving one last ray of hope to the world, and Endeavor finally taking the #1 spot after showing he does indeed have what it takes to be the #1 hero. Both heroes are left permanently scarred. All Might vs. All for One is a simple fight. It consists of only a few punches, but it finds power in the symbols it can use later. From the imagery to the dialogue to the soundtrack, it's incredibly powerful to see it being called back to. It's not just Endeavor's fight either. In Midoriya vs. Bakugo, the fight itself is loosely similar up until the very end when Midoriya uses the same move that All Might used on All for One in an attempt to overcome Bakugo, while the same soundtrack is playing too. I could probably talk a lot more about how much I love the way the show does this, but I'll probably end it there.
Group 2, that was actually pretty good. The only problem is that I don't like you. So we're just gonna move on to Group 3 then. Thank you.
I am the disembodied head of Group 3. Or 4, I forgot which group I was in. Allow me to take a form more appealing to your human eyes.
Okay, now that we have that out of the way, I'm ready to present. So let's just jump right into it. My Hero Academia fights. Let's get started. We as a group settled on talking about Midoriya versus Overhaul, because the fight itself presents something that we've never seen from the show before. The entire arc is Midoriya's biggest and first moment as a real hero. It's also his biggest showcase of power up until this point. It's really the final episode of the arc, though, when the Overhaul fight actually begins, that strikes me as significant. Normally the fights in the show follow a loose formula of introduce the villain with incredible power, showcase the hero at a clear disadvantage, and then have the hero psych themselves up with heroic music in the background and somehow, despite the odds, overcome the enemy. But the Overhaul arc does not follow this formula. Bearing what's left of Lemillion's cape and Ares' unique power, Midoriya is very clearly at his most powerful here, with his biggest threat in this scene not even being Overhaul. The main difference here is the overall tone when compared to other heroic moments in the show. Notably, there's a lack of "you say run," or anything that sounds similar to "you say run," or anything heroic sounding at all, which I thought was interesting because the music and animation of this episode don't really tell you how to feel like other hero moments do. Like when All Might saves the class at the end of Season 1. You Say Run comes on during the battle, it hits all the heroic beats that it needs to. The animation shows that a hero here is at work. The day is saved. The way Midoriya is animated here, though, and how the soundtrack pairs with it, is violent. What we're watching isn't so much a heroic moment as much as it is a pure demonstration of unnatural, inhumane power. By the end of the fight, Overhaul looks like he's fucking dead, and Sir sees something what can only be described as an abomination. Midoriya standing in front of him. A sight that directly contradicts his previously foreseen future, where Midoriya is dead. The Midoriya vs. Overhaul arc finds power as simple as it comes. It finds power in the simple fact that it breaks the show's traditional fight mold and makes something all its own. Thank you, Group 3. That was a lot of opinions that I just heard. So we'll be moving on now. How about Group 4? Oh, and there's the bell. Your homework for tonight is to look around at all the simple things in your life and see how they might hold some power. Maybe you'll find power in something even as simple as a YouTube video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, watch it again. I don't care. Just be sure to come back and watch the next one. Thanks.